In this video, I'm going to share exactly what system I use to reach my academic goals and how you can use it to achieve your own in 2026. Let's get into it. Hey everyone, my name is Angelina. I have been a straight A student for the past 15 years and have consistently ranked at the top of my class. I didn't always know what I was doing well, but I certainly did not study more than everyone else. Over the years, through lots of trial and error, I discovered a lot of strategies and systems that actually made it possible to hit these goals, and with minimal effort. After achieving multiple A stars for my O-levels and A-levels, I want to share with you exactly what worked and what didn't, so that you can apply it to reach your goals in 2026. Number 1, setting the goal. So 3 years ago, at the beginning of year 12, I decided I wanted to achieve the best grades I could get, my personal best. It's important to really be specific about your goal so that you can reverse engineer it, so that we can later on build a system which I will explain later. So I decided I would go for a goal that then sounded really impossible. For example, full marks, ranking number 1 in the world in that subject, number 1 in my country. These were my initial goals. So I knew if I didn't reach these goals, I would reach a level a little lower, but I would still achieve something very good. I had to recognize that being smart was not enough. I had to find a way to bridge the gap between my goals and actually achieving them. Number 2, building the system. I mentioned previously that what helped me to bridge the gap between my goals and actually achieving them with minimal effort, knowing that I'm a very lazy person, was building a system. So how do you do that? The system is going to be comprised of a system of steps, specific steps that you will do over and over until you reach your goal, a certain place where you will organize all of this information, like Notion or something. You will need a number of steps and with a list of things to do to reduce friction for your actual tasks and make it easier to stop. For example, if you think that studying in the morning is far easier, you have more energy, less distraction, it's one of those things. Say your goal is, what was my goal? My goal was full marks in all subjects. For example, what would this take for me in physics? To achieve full marks, I have to reverse engineer it. To achieve full marks in physics, I need full marks in paper 1, paper 2, paper 4, paper 5, paper 6 for me in my country. And how to get this is I needed full marks or almost full marks in each of these papers. How do I ensure that any paper I do, I'm always going to check all the boxes from the marking scheme? So that I would need to know what steps, what keywords does the marking scheme accept for every type of possible question. For example, you can have a question on circular motion. There's only going to be 5 different variations of questions you can possibly get in your paper 2 on circular motion. What I did was I would look for all these questions in past papers. I would look for their marking schemes. I would look for the keywords we were looking in their answers, the number of steps, how they marked it, and I would save this into my Notion, into a document in my Notion. And then at some point I would do active recall on all these different types of questions, so that when I would do my papers, I would already know if it's circular motion, it has to be one of these, and I have to get the mark because I know this is what the marking scheme will be asking. The marking scheme will want this word, this keyword. The marking scheme will want this step. So what are the steps so far? And to do that, to find all these different types of questions, how many years of past papers did I need to do? I chose the most efficient method of only doing the past papers once I've already analyzed all the types of questions. Let's say if I was short on time, I would do both at the same time. I would do the paper. If I find a new type of question, I would note it. in my document if I was short on time. Otherwise, I would organize a minimum number of types of questions, have it in my doc, and then I would do the past paper to test myself. Now, how many past papers? I did my research. You would want at least 5 to 10 years of past papers, at least 10 years of past papers if you want to rank at the top of the world or something. And once you're close to the exams, do not try to do more past papers. Waste of time. With a system, you always have to think what is most efficient for me to do. And I will set this as an activity for me to do, and I will do only these things. You have to prioritize. You have to only do the tasks with the most return of investment. Now we have to do this for every subject. How long does it take us for one paper? How much time do we have left? Divide all of this by the number of days you have. You will find how many papers you must do. Find how much time does that take and how many papers per day. First day paper 1, paper 4, second day paper 2, paper 5. And all this I had organized in my Notion. So in my Notion, I had every single subject. I would have a progress bar of how I had progressed for each chapter. As the months went by, I could see my progress. I could see the tracking bar in Notion move along. This also helped with my motivation. I had to choose what was my priority. Was this goal my priority? Then I would reduce the number of things I do during my day. Say today it was a day at school, I had tuition, I had only 2 hours to study. I'm going to do the most efficient thing I can do. I'm not going to search for another study technique. Number 3, you will have to adjust your work by workload. You will have many goals throughout your journey. So it's going to be mock exams, it's going to be small tests. These things are much lower priority than you think. For example, say you have a test in 3 days. This is such low priority. If you fail this test, not going to change anything about your final exams. I scored badly in some tests, and yet I still achieved this result. And so, what I would do sometimes, I would once again I would give it the right priority. Right priority. If it was a small test, one chapter, I'm going to give it 1 or 2 hours the day before. I would cram, and I would pick a study technique most efficient, active recall, some sort of active recall, and be done with it. And I would work well on the test. But if I know it's going to be a mock exam, I need to start prepping 1-2 months in advance. I need to know will there be all the chapters in that exam. I will have to choose. Say I'm short on time. I'm gonna have to choose between the mock exam and the final one. Am I going to optimize for the mock exam to have enough time for that, or will I scrap it, do my best, and do the best of the final one? Little story about me. Growing up, I found out I may have been on top of my class, but I did not always study that hard. I would always do things last minute, and now that I'm older, I realize how I did it. I would try to find the most efficient way to do it. Even if I did it last minute, I would do some sort of active record. I had a test on one chapter. I would condense all that information and I do active record the morning of the test in the bus. This journey had lots of trial and error. I did tons of research. I might have tried every study method ever. Some things worked, some things didn't, some for different reasons. I just ended up with what worked best. I ended up applying this to other areas in my life. I'm currently on a fitness journey. So in my exercise, in my meal prep, in my prayer life, reading, or YouTube channel, I reverse engineer what I want. For example, I'm on a weight loss journey. I want to lose this amount of weight in this amount of time. So I reverse engineer it. I calculate the calories I need to eat. Say if I want to lose 1 or 2 kilos per month, and how will I get those calories? While feeling full, I eat the right amount of protein, right amount of greens, and all this I store in my Notion, and then I track my progress. Common mistakes. It's a big mistake to think that working harder is better. If you find that working harder, doing more past papers, working 12 hours a day does not make your progress increase according to your system and the number of steps to reach that goal, if it's just making you tired, it's not doing anything better. You just becoming more tired. More tasks, more things is not better. More things and more elaborate routine is not better. The most simple routine will get you there. With unnecessary things like always trying to make your desk pretty, unless it helps you and motivates you to start. Not necessary. Always finding the right music to start studying. Always looking for another best study technique. Another common mistake is never tracking your progress. You will feel demotivated and think the system is not working. If you don't track your progress, you will want to start over, try another method, try to copy everyone else. If you copy everyone else, you will be like everyone else. You have to find the method that's best for you. You have to do your own trials and error, not adjusting the effort you put into the proportionally to the priority of the task. Why should I spend 1 month to prepare and do spaced repetition for a stupid 20 marks test that is not going to help me for my final exams? Likely if I do a small test like this 8 months before my final exam, I won't remember it. So choose what is actually important. Your final exam and your document of all different types of questions is more important than your small test you're gonna have next day. If it only deserves 1 hour of revision, that's it. Let it be. And if you guys enjoyed this video, stay tuned for the next one and drop a comment down below about what I should do next.